Welcome to the Don't Know Much podcast, where we don't know much about anything, but what I do know is that concerts are fun as fuck, guys. Holy shit! I went to my first actual musical concert this weekend, actually, and the concert I went to was the Tyler the Creator concert, where I've waited almost half a year, I want to say, since I bought those tickets. And man, it was well worth the fucking money. Well worth the money and well worth the trip and all the waiting. Like, it was so good that it still leaves an impact to me to this day. I don't know if you guys have been to a lot of concerts. Like, this is my first
I've never
concert,
been to a
actually.
concert, if we're being honest.
Really? Okay. Have you ever had a chance to go, though?
I was gonna buy concert tickets to Red Hot Chili Peppers, but what ended up happening was the very next day it went from $80 to $400. So hell yeah, I said yeah.
You didn't
fuck
get to the
that.
pre-sale, did you?
That was the pre-sale.
That's what okay, that's what I'm asking. Was it the $40? Like,
No, it was $80 and like
$80.
and like the very next day it went up to $400.
Yeah, that's what happened to me with the Tyler tickets. I bought them. Well, I'm pretty sure I told the story about like how I got the tickets while after work, right?
No, I don't think
you did.
Maybe I probably wasn't there for.
All right, well, I'll give the short version of it. Long story short, you guys, this is back when I was working my overnight job. I left work that morning at 7 a.m. and I had to get my battery replaced, and it was a car lease. So what I did was I went to the dealership because they usually give out free services. And well, we actually talked about this in the last podcast, Marcos.
Yeah.
But long story short, so for a recap, I got there at around like 7:15, and I was expecting to leave around like 10 a.m. because that's when the pre-sale tickets were gonna go live. Because mind you, the concert was like, I think I ordered these tickets like in August or something of last year, and the performance was literally this March. So as you can imagine, it was months of planning.
Yeah.
Or like months ahead of the performance. So I remembered, I was like, okay, I'm gonna be here, and then when it's like 9:30, I'm gonna drive home. By the time it's 10:30, I'm gonna be in front of my computer, connected to the Ethernet. I'll be set. And fast forward, after fighting myself, falling asleep from probably the most uncomfortable chair I sat in my life, it's 10 o'clock. I realized like, oh shit.
Repair shop?
Was that?
Because of the repair shop or when you got home?
No, the dealership. The dealership had like this
right.
really awkward fucking chair where it's like a chair and a table attached to another chair. So if you move like one thing, it moves everything together. It's like super uncomfortable.
Right.
But long story short, I went to go buy the tickets. The fucking app crashed on me or some bullshit like that happened, and I was able to score the tickets. But after the next day, I was just curious. I saw like the seats that I paid for were like $300, but I paid like $60 for them. It was pretty nutty. But I think it's interesting because I think a lot of people bought the tickets with the intention to resell them, because when I went to the concert, I noticed not a lot of empty seats, but a lot of really weird empty seats. Like the seat that I sat, there was a seat next to me. It was right next to the staircase, but there was nobody there. So it was kind of good because I wasn't have to like sit like shoulder to shoulder anyone. I could just like jump over to the side, which I needed because I was going fucking ham on that concert. Oh my God, it was so fucking good, guys. Like, so how we did the concert was that, this is obviously in the Bayside area, so I don't want to like, drive my car. I have to pay $50 for parking. Fuck all that noise. So we did was we just took the Metro Rail, all the way from, Dayland all the way up to Bayside.
Okay. Yeah,
and
right.
it was really fun. It was really nice, and it was just kind of realizing, like, damn, like public transportation ain't so bad.
If you're on US 1.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I was about to say that. Yes, I'm well aware of that. But, we went on that. Then we took the People Mover, and then we got to the stadium. We got there, I want to say, so apparently they started at 7. By the time we got there, it was about like 7:30, and we were like halfway through the opening bands. So they had like Tebow Touchdown, Vince Staples, Kali Uchis, which funny enough, like I knew Kali Uchis through Tyler's work with her and some of her original tracks, but apparently that was like a big celebrity or big singer that a lot of people like, including my cousin, which he didn't find out about until literally right while we got to the arena. He looked up at a sign like, oh, Kali Uchis's performing. And he's like, yeah, he didn't bother. He's like, nah, I was completely in the dark on this one, dog. And I'm like, oh, well, yeah, she's going to perform. And man, she was really good. I really like her a lot. Tebow Touchdown was really weird. I didn't know who the fuck he was at first because, like, he's a smaller guy. He was like wearing like a Home Depot outfit and shit like that. But he was really cool. I dig his style. Admittedly, though, the sound of the opening acts wasn't as good. There's something, I'm telling you, man, like maybe this is just my first concert experience, but I remember my cousin was telling me that when he went to see a Lil Wayne concert, he had like the worst time because how bad the sound mixing was. Where like everything just sounded like really blown out. You really couldn't understand the words they're saying. I feel like I think it's just one of those things that you would enjoy it if you knew the lyrics of the song as they're singing it, right? But I thought like, oh fuck, is this gonna be like for every performance? And it wasn't bad. I mean, like I think it slowly started getting better as the opening acts went through. So the first was Tebow Touchdown, then it was Vince Staples, which he was okay, and then it was Caliucci, which I thought she was like getting better, like she was singing a lot better, but the songs are like mostly kind of blurring together, and I was having a hard time like really following because it's really confusing because she kept saying, I want to thank everybody, thank you everybody, and I'm keep thinking like, okay, like when is the next act, when is the next song, because you keep like saying thank you everybody, but like every song that ends, and then it's like, okay, is the next act playing or you're going to sing another song? Oh, you're singing another song now. Okay, cool. Stop telling everyone thank you like you're ending the show, Callie. Like, I get it. You know what I'm saying? But, man, when Tyler came on with that fucking Rolls Royce and he fucking sang his heart out, and, man, I was in the zone. I was, for the most part, like, pretty quiet. I was keeping to myself. I was like, this is nice. Okay, this is good. But, man, I don't know if it's because I'm just a massive cocksucking Tyler fan at the moment, but my God, dude, was the performance so good and the vibe was just immaculate. It was just like going in the fucking zone. Like I lost my voice after the concert. Like I couldn't talk.
That's
like I was
always
like
the
talking.
best.
Dude, but I'm not a screamer kind of guy. Like I'm the kind of guy that talks a little loud, but I'm not a shouter kind of dude. But when you're in a fucking concert, you know the lyrics and you know the guy is sitting right in front of you. You go to fucking town, my dude. I was jumping up and down. I was pushing my cousin and his girlfriend over the place. I was starting a fucking mosh pit, especially when the Igor track started kicking in. My God, when New Magic 1 was coming out, it was a fucking menace on them nosebleeds because I'm too fucking broke. But I'm going to definitely pay for closer seats next time. But that was just because, like, so the story was that, like, I wanted to go see this concert no matter what. I was going to pay good fucking money for it. But then I thought, like, okay, who am I going to take with me? You know, I want to go to this fucking concert with someone because I don't want to be sitting next to complete randoms. You know what I'm saying? And I asked my cousin, and I asked him, like, out of curiosity, I just shot the blue at him. And I'm like, hey, I know you're not really a Tyler fan, and I don't know if you really listen to his music, but do you want to come with me? And I thought he was going to say no, but then he's like, yeah, I'll go. How much are the tickets? I'm like, oh, $60. Like, yeah, let's go. And I'm like, oh, fuck yeah. So we went, and we had a fucking blast. But which is really funny because I told him, like, hey, maybe you should get in a little bit into Tyler's music and see if you like it. Because, you know, if you don't want to go, then just tell me so I'll sell the tickets and you get your money back. You know what I'm saying? But, I told him, like, all right, listen to the new album that came out last year, I believe, Call Me If You Get Lost, which is really good. It's still my second. Amazing. Very fucking good.
I don't even know who Tyler, the Creator, is. I've never actually listened to him.
Really?
Yeah. He's pretty good, dude. He's awesome.
Like,
he's
what
really,
sort of
really
genre
good.
of music is that?
Rap mainly, R&B.
Okay. That's probably why I don't listen. I mean, I have my preferred music, but I I've talked about.
Well, my palette over the years has massively grown.
Well, yeah,
like
so
middle school.
Mine, but that's what I was trying to get to. Is that, you know, I'll listen to other music other than just like rock, or, you know, and I'm talking about the entirety of rock minus country rock.
He does do his early works wasn't so much. It was what's the term? It's not like a gangster rap. It's more like
edgy, like horror rap. Like
it's horrorcore. That's what it's called.
Horrorcore.
Yeah,
exactly.
It doesn't sound like my kind of style, but
you would love him because his early work is also really funny.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, like that was like my thing about like with Tyler, the Creator, as a performer. Like I knew Tyler as a person. Like I knew, like, okay, he's a really funny dude. He was really good in the Eric Andre show. He was really funny on Loiterer Squad. But I never sat down.
Squad, hell yeah.
Yeah, we all remember Loiterer Squad. That show was.
He was funny when he was chilling with everyone in Wolfgang. I love it.
Yeah, and when he was in Odd Future and all that jazz, like, you know, the vibe was great, which was really funny. I didn't know Frank Ocean was a part of him. Like, I just thought Frank Ocean was like this one entity, but like, no, he was part of that group, and I thought it was really funny.
A lot of people got put on Tyler because of the memes as well.
Yeah, because Tyler's a really funny guy, and he was fucking hilarious on the concert. Like, I told people, like, hey, you're going to get your money's worth, because Tyler, I guess he just really gets annoyed when people throw random shit on the stage, and some kid threw his fucking phone on stage, and Tyler picks it up. Yeah, he threw his fucking phone, and Tyler's like, "You're a fucking idiot. I'm gonna throw that phone in the back, and you're not gonna get it back." And the camera pans to this kid, and he's like pointing at him like, "Yeah, I'm the idiot. I did it. And he's like telling people like, "Stop throwing shit on the fucking stage. I used to get someone else to come pick it up and everything."
That's funny.
But yeah, I just thought that was, and like one time someone threw like a fucking shoe, and he's like, "Whoever threw that fucking shoe, you're a fucking moron. You're gonna walk around this whole fucking festival, everyone's gonna point at you and be like, yeah, that's the dumbass who threw his one fucking shoe."
I will say though, Tyler is definitely a riot when it comes to like people in the audience. He will like make fun of you. He'll do whatever. He's definitely. I'm pretty sure he'd do great in the what's that called, in the comedy scene if you wanted to
stand up.
Yeah, stand up, because
he's funny. He's a really funny dude.
But
I also get the vibe that like he's not mean spirited. Like he's not like, he hasn't gotten to that point of like of a celebrity that thinks that they're better than everyone, or they're just mean to people. He's just like calling people out doing stupid shit. Like one time he stopped us. Yeah, like he's like, one time he stopped the song because he was getting annoyed. There was like 3 small mosh pits, and he's like, "You guys are fucking stupid, right? That white girl right there, turn around. There's a mosh pit right behind you. You don't gotta like spread out into tiny little mosh pits. You have all this fucking space."
That's true.
So
I do like that. I do like it when he's like, he's being what was it when you brought up the whole OCD thing? He's like, I got a little bit of, I think that's what he said, right? I have a bit of, like, this whole OCD
well,
thing.
he said it, no, the way how he phrased it was, someone's like, "Oh, is it anxiety?" And he's like, "No, I ain't fucking anxiety. It's just fucking stupid."
Oh, right, that's what it was. Yeah.
Funny.
Concerts
yeah, to
are
go
great.
back,
I know they're great. It's just much like how I can appreciate peanut butter, how everyone loves peanut butter. It's not for me. I don't like the taste of peanut butter whatsoever. I understand it's a superfood. I understand everything. The same thing with that. I can understand concerts. What's great about it, especially if it's done right, if it's done great. It's good vibes, good everything. I think the reason why I no longer like concerts, because I think the first ever concert I ever went to. So my dad, obviously, he grew up in the 80s and 90s, listening to the classic music that was, during that time, during when America's pop was around.
Are we talking about like pop rock or like glam rock or something like that?
I'm talking about like Spaceship. I'm talking about like MJ. I'm talking about like the Police. I'm talking about just everything. Everything
80s,
was blowing up, right? I think we were watching Spaceship perform. I think they're the band that made like one of their famous songs is Sarah. And it was a popular band back then, right? They broke up for band reasons. Whatever,
I think you're talking about Starship.
Starship, that's what it was. Starship. Thank you.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
they built the city. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So they were performing at a racetrack, like a dog racetrack, and my dad wanted to go. I've heard the songs. I liked them when I was a kid, and my dad wanted to go with me, and my brother didn't want to go. So we just went along, and it was my first concert experience. It was nice, expensive, concert food. It is what it is. We got a hot dog. I think it was a hot dog or a burger. I can't remember. But Starship came around, and well, they did bad because I think the lead singer, he was just not playing around. He's just like picked up his guitar, he was playing his own thing, and then when they were playing songs, he was smoking, and then
must have been drunk or something.
Maybe he just did not care.
A lot of
completely
lead singers,
checked out.
They'll just drink themselves until they're drunk, or they'll smoke pot right before the show. Some of them will do cocaine. It really depends.
I've known plenty of concert performers that do drugs and do drink, and they still perform. Well, yeah, that's not the issue. The issue is they had bad blood.
Right, but I'm just saying, like, there's like singers that are in bands that just get blasted and then like forget lyrics in the middle of a performance.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure that wasn't the case. The band broke up definitely because of bad blood.
Right.
And so did the band break up, and then this was like kind of like
like a reunion type of thing?
Reunion,
yeah. Okay. Yeah, and well, like if he was drunk, sure he could be drunk, but the dude was vehemently just disrespecting the entire crew, and everyone was just booing and everything. And it wasn't a crazy amount of people either. It was just in the audience. It was
we were performing at a dog racetrack, so it's not like people are really lining up for you.
Right. So either way, it was my first concert experience, and I guess it left a sour taste in my mouth. Maybe that's why I don't really see concerts as a whole as a like something I would go to.
Have you ever went to go see a concert of a band you actually like, or
only at a bar, and it was pretty sick. But like the more I think about like outdoor concerts, I really don't like outdoor concerts, especially down here.
Florida's just like Satan's armpit for concerts outside.
I've been to many events where it's out in the sun the whole day. I've been to this aviation show called Sun and Fun, and I've been out there all day putting sunscreen and everything. I don't mind walking around everywhere. Everyone is evenly spaced except in the food areas, but like I just don't like the idea of it being in a concert, hot sun, just beating down on your forehead on everything, and then you are being surrounded by multiple people. I just maybe not Florida, maybe Oklahoma, because I just somewhere else that isn't Florida. Because I thought of what's a state that's not humid. Like Oklahoma's not humid. Seattle isn't humid. It's just Florida's just so damn humid. It just makes it worse. I could survive it. Don't get me wrong. I could survive it. It's just
you're not really
enjoyable for me. Right. You know what I mean? That's why I like bars. Going to a bar and there's a concert happening there because there's this band that's playing. I don't mind. Sure thing.
It's not like
cool.
A concert. It's just a live band usually. Like. Over
basically,
here,
it's just a small little performance.
Where I moved to, like, we have live bands throughout the weekend at every single bar here in town, and I go to a certain bar. I'm actually a regular there now, and like I've seen half of the bands that play, and I like some of them, and there's you have your white people doing your white people dances. It's I call it the crazy dance, and then I start mocking them. But that's a whole nother discussion. But yeah, like when Danny was saying like, oh yeah, the sound mixing was blown out. Like it happens.
Yeah.
I had I was at one of the bars, but it was during the day. They had a live band. It was like a Sunday. They had a live band. The singer was good, but you could barely hear him.
Okay.
You could barely hear him. It was just like. You hear the band, but you don't hear the singer. You hear him in the background, like if he was like a background singer, like really quiet.
I guess I spent a lot of time with I spent a lot of time equalizing sound for the certain events I used to do, doing media when it comes to like lights, live stream, everything. And after doing all that, I prefer doing that, being in control of stuff within the concert than attending a concert itself. I don't know. I grew out of it, of wanting to be in something like that. But like I get it's great. Don't get me wrong. I wouldn't mind going. I just would not want to go to like an outdoor concert. Maybe a stadium one where the Tyler the Creator concert was in, right? It was in the stadium, right?
Yeah, it was at the FTX Arena, which used to be called the American Airlines.
I don't mind that. That I don't mind because it's you can have seats, there's bathrooms, obviously in worst case scenario, you got to buy the food, right? Whatever. That I don't mind because at least people will have the
You could easily like leave. You could up and go. You know what I'm saying? We were right at the thing, and we went in and out just fine. I get where you're coming from. Thankful, like I know what you're coming from, Marcos, because I used to work at the Hard Rock Stadium as a security guard, and there's some interesting moments. Like I remember I was talking about someone. So Coldplay was performing that day, right? And I like some of Coldplay. I like some of Coldplay's tracks. They're all right. I haven't really sat down and listened to any of their albums, right? And that night I wasn't working at the usual section where I was like at the VIP section, which was like the best section. You let people in for like 2 hours and then you sit around all day until everybody has to leave, right? I was running late. The manager there didn't like me. He wanted me to go work outside, right?
Okay.
And I was standing outside, and the way how the dome is shaped, that because it's also a football field, it wasn't completely closed. Like there's like this big massive square that's on top. So the music would play off the sound walls and then it would bounce upward, right? So you can still hear the music like outside, right?
Okay.
And so I remember I was sitting out there and I was like, you know what? When Coldplay plays a song I really like I think Adventures of Your Lifetime, I'm going to go listen to it. So I was sitting outside listening to the music, and I was talking to some guys like, yeah, man, the acoustics sound like shit because, like, you know, you're out here and you can hear it because it's bouncing upward and da-da-da-da. And I remembered I was just like, you know what? Hey, man, I'm going to go take a break. I'll be back. And so I started walking, and the band wasn't, like, performing like how most bands perform where it's, like, at a wall or something. They were performing, like, dead center of the arena, right?
Okay.
And I was standing where the opening where the football players run out to the field, right? And so, like, the band, I want to say, was just, like, maybe 12 feet away from me or something. And I just saw that shit, and I got paid to watch it. And I was like, huh, that's pretty cool. I saw a band perform in front of me, like 12 feet in front of me, and I got paid to do it, you know? Do I technically count that as my concert experience? Not really, because I was only there for, like, as a job, and I kind of mentally checked out on it.
Right.
But, you know, no, that was kind of like a cool moment right there. But a good reason why I was really excited, not only because I'm a massive Tyler fan, is because there are certain songs that sound different when you hear it live than you do if you hear it in the track. Like, I was especially excited when, like, this really caught me off guard when Tyler started performing his older songs, and I'm talking, like, first he started playing Flower Boy tracks, which was like the album that yeah, like it gets crazier. It goes from, like, Flower Boy tracks, and I remember, like, now I love Flower Boy. I've told the story before that, like, the way how I got into Tyler's music was one day I was driving home from work, and I was just like, you know what, I listen to the same Spotify playlist all the time, let me try something different. And I remember hearing about Flower Boy coming out. And I heard it was a good album, but I mainly heard that it was a different album. Okay. Something very different from Tyler at the time, which, if you know, compared to like works like Goblin and fucking, you know, Bastard and Wolf, you know, it would sound different.
Goblin?
So I'm like, you know what? I'm talking about, like,
Goblin these nuts.
Oh, nice. Got him. Sorry, it's okay. Anyways, so I remember I was driving home one day, and I was like, you know what? Let me listen to Tyler. Let me give Tyler's music an honest-to-God shot, because I think I may have heard Yonkers, and I never really got it. Like, I thought, okay, it's a decent track, but I never got, like, the hype of it. And the fact that kind of blew him up was sort of weird to me. But then again, Tyler is well aware that's a joke. But anyways, so... yeah, I became a fan of him after listening to Flower Boy, and he started playing fucking Flower Boy songs, and that kind of caught me off guard, because I told my cousin, like, yeah, try Igor, try Call Me If You Get Lost, and then maybe try Flower Boy, but he never liked Igor, and he liked Call Me If You Get Lost, like, half of it, right?
Okay.
And then, like, when Flower Boy started playing, I was like, oh, shit, he's playing 911, Mr. Lonely, Boredom. Okay, where else he's going to go? Then he plays fucking Tamale from Wolf, and I thought, holy shit. And then afterwards, he starts fucking playing She from Goblin, and I was like, you could get away with this? So it was really weird when, like, the entire audience was singing the Frank Ocean line, or it's like, this bitch is praying on my brown cock, you know, and all this other shit, and my cousin and his girlfriend were all confused, like, what the fuck are they even singing? And then, like, when Frank Ocean says chirp chirp, everyone's like chirp chirp.
Hey Kenny, so you know how a bunch of straight dudes will make a gay rap and it sounds hard as hell?
Yeah.
So Tyler makes straight rap, but he's gay as hell, and I freaking love it.
That's so like literally the song She is literally about a guy who's like, I'm gonna fuck the next door neighbor, and the stalker is mad peeved because I'm cucking the shit out of him, and this guy wants to kill and like rape this woman and like drag her body into the forest. Like, he's saying this shit on stage, and it was which was really weird, because I remember like one of the people that was there was a little girl holding a Vaporeon plushie, and I thought, man, this generation is gonna be fucking weird.
That's why I like Tyler. Honestly, he's definitely a character, and that's why I liked, you know, even Earl. Earl was very
Earl Sweatshirt. Yeah, I like Earl.
Obviously, you know, they're in the same crew, but either way, like I love
the Odd Future,
everything about Tyler. I mean, wait, with the concert, did he keep that old vehicle there the entire concert, or
yeah, the Rolls Royce? Yeah, he had like a whole fucking boat there too that he rode on.
Oh, nice.
So like the set was like, I've showed you guys pictures of it. It's like you see a big house on it, and then you see the Rolls Royce pull up, and the black boy hop out. Haha, the track. He hops out and he's performing in front of the house, which I really like it, because it also gives an excuse to like add like guest characters. Like, they played Who Dat Boy from fucking Flower Boy. Nice. I'm like, oh, how they're gonna play Who Dat Boy without A$AP Rocky, like Tyler's boyfriend? How we're gonna do that, you know? And then they just like superimpose like fucking A$AP Rocky's shadow on the fucking window of the house, and I thought, oh, that's kind of creative. I dig that shit, you know what I'm saying? But Yeah, dude, like it was crazy. Like he went from Flower Boy to Goblin to Wolf to back to Flower Boy, back to Call Me If You Get Lost. But dude, when the Igor track started playing, oh my god,
Everyone
I was
popped
going
off.
fucking ham. I was shouting my head off. I was jumping. I was losing my shit, dude. I was always told myself, like, when I heard New Magic Wand being played live on like a fucking award show or something, it like completely changes the vibe of it. Not saying I don't like the album version, but just hearing Tyler go fucking metal and just be like, I was like, holy shit, the vibe is fucking like angry, like it is vicious, like, you know, it's a pretty like scary song if you think about it. It's a song about a guy being mad that his boyfriend won't commit to him, and he's like, well, if I can't have you, I'm gonna kill the bitch, and if you choose her over me, I'm gonna kill you too, you son of a bitch. And like you go fucking ham and you start like headbanging, there's fire shooting everywhere. Oh my god, dude, it was so good. And the fact it ends on like with Earthquake and Run It Up, oh my god, it was so fucking good. It is, man, I'm telling you, man, this is like one of those experiences that's gonna leave me. I remember just like I couldn't even talk afterwards. Like I was just be talking like that the entire time. I had a fucking blast at the concert, my dude. Well fucking worth it.
That's good, dude, that you enjoyed a concert. This was like your first like actual concert experience. One thing
Yeah,
I will
'cause,
say
like,
about no, go ahead.
I'm sorry. It's just, and people always saying, well, Danny, you're like 26. Why haven't you gone to any concert? Because when younger Danny was around, the only thing Danny listened to is what I used to tell people is like, well, why don't you go listen to your favorite bands live when they go perform? And tell them, well, most of my favorite bands are dead.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the reason. I can't
Yeah.
go listen to John Lennon and George Harrison and like half of these people because either they're not touring, they retired, or they're dead. But I wanted to see Paul McCartney once when I was in high school, even though I didn't really follow Paul's solo work at the time, which is crazy that he's still doing it to this day, which his new album is really good.
I will say with metal concerts, and these are the concerts like I truly like. They're quite interesting to like be part of. Is that their timing is not like the timing that they do in studio. It's faster. It's a faster pacing usually, and listening to the song played faster, it just brings a whole new energy to it. And that's like one thing I would do like with like any metal concert. Like every Metallica concert I've heard, like obviously not live, but like it sounds faster. It's played faster, and the energy's there, and you're like, wow, you could feel that like they're actually just going hard and everyone's enjoying it in the stadium or whatever.
Really good example. You know what's a really good example of that? Like the Ramones. Like those guys like speed run their music like when they perform. Like, all right, the song takes 3 minutes. We're gonna do it 2.5. Okay, we're gonna do 2.5. We're gonna do 1, and then later they go from there. Like that's their whole shtick. Like they'll be like, oh, the Beatles performed at Shea Stadium at this time. Okay, we're gonna perform it faster than them.
Right. And that's one thing I do enjoy about rock and metal concerts, that they actually go in hard.
Yeah, it was amazing. Like I was like praying. I was like, man, I went into this as blind as hell. I wanted to be completely surprised, which I'm glad I did, because man, I was not expecting him to play Flower Boy and fucking Goblin tracks. I was like, damn, that is crazy. And I like that he even like talked about it too, where he's just like, yeah, he's still. I always thought about that, like as a musician. If you made like an album that was like critically acclaimed and arguably maybe your best work, wouldn't you want to try to surpass it every time? Or you would just like be like, okay, I made this succeeded, but I'm gonna make this, and if it surpasses it, whatever. If it doesn't, I'm happy because I already made the previous work. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. I guess. I mean, you have your own. You have success, what you do, you have a fan base anyways, and people will still buy whatever you gotta have, whatever you have. So like,
true,
like you can experiment, and that's why like a lot of people don't like when a band starts off and then every new album it's like a different kind of groove. It's still the same
like
genre, but like people want consistency. Same the old stuff, but more new stuff. And I'm like, but like you gotta let the creator be the creators, man. You gotta
exactly
let them do
like
their
nothing
thing.
bothers me more is like when people jerk off to the same 4 albums over and over again, and then they complain that like the 5th album isn't as good as the 4th. Well, yeah, if you stop dry humping those 4 albums back to back and open up your mind a little bit, maybe you might like this one.
Or sometimes the 5th album is actually you know,
Garbo.
not that good.
Well, I've always heard. Usually, my experience is that the first band's album is really good because they're trying really hard to make a name for themselves, and then they blow the creative back out, and then they suck on the second album, or it's the opposite. Sometimes the first album is like, okay, like a good example is like Judas Priest's first album, like the first one with Judas Priest's name on it, Rockarola is fucking garbage. It is not good. I mean, I'm sure it has its fans, the dads out there that probably really like Rockarola. Good for you, hey, whatever. But if you told me how to get into Judas Priest, that would be nowhere near the first album to recommend you. Hey, man, want to start with Judas Priest? Start with Sad Wings of Destiny. Oh, wait, but that's like the third album. That doesn't care. That's the first album.
Okay.
That's a Judas Priest album. If you listen like Motorhead 1, that's punk. That's not metal. That's like fucking punk. Not saying it's bad. It's just like if you're going into this expecting Ace of Spades, you're not going to get Ace of Spades.
I guess. I mean, that's one thing that I've always wanted to do is take someone I know who would enjoy a concert and never been to one. I would like to go to a concert with them, to a band that I don't listen to, but they like listening to it, like maybe my dad, but like I don't know. It's not something that happens nowadays, and my dad's getting on in his years, and he's not the healthiest dude. So an outdoor concert is gonna be a thing for him. But like, I don't know. Just concerts ain't for me. But
I thought I wasn't going to do it. I mean, I'm a socially inert kind of guy, but dude, I didn't give a fuck. I was having the time of my life. But then again, maybe because I was playing in an arena, I can only imagine I was like shoulder to shoulder with a bunch of sweaty nerds or something like that. Like, yeah, I guess maybe that'd be too much. But like when I'm in a fucking chair with my cousin and his girlfriend right next to me, and like I don't feel like even remotely squashed, I'm having the time of my life. Everything's dark as hell. Everybody's shouting. Everybody's screaming. Everybody's focused on Tyler. I fucking went to town. I lost my voice probably by the third song, but I didn't give a fuck. I was still having the time of my life.
I think it's also a better experience being next, shoulder to shoulder to someone in a concert because the energy's there versus like, I don't know, an airplane seat because you're just stuck there sitting doing nothing, waiting for the.
Hey guys, you mind if I go do a mosh pit at this airplane?
Just real quick. I love it.
Excuse me a second. I'm gonna bust it down sexual style.
Sexual style, gone wild.
Gone wild.
Jeez.
Oh man. All right.
But
well,
I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
I had a blast. We should. If I ever go to see another concert, I really want to go. I'll let you guys know. I really want you guys to come with me. I think it'll be really fun.
Yeah,
I wouldn't mind.
The only other concert I really want to go to was the Kanye West Donda 2 experience.
Donda 2.
But I'm really glad I didn't go.
Did you hear that he
Yeah.
released that song on his little Yeezy pod instead of like on Apple Music,
like an actual streaming service,
something like that.
Yeah, but we're talking about that, but we're also talking about the fact that there was a Donda 2 experience that he announced like 2 weeks before the fucking thing was gonna start.
Wow.
Yeah.
So he was like charging like $150. Well, the stadium was charging $150, and I was like telling my cousin like, dude, like we should go because we're both Kanye fans. Like, dude, we need to go see Donda 2. It's like, yeah, but Danny, this is like $150. But yeah, dude, but imagine we're gonna be the first people ever to hear Donda 2.
That's true.
And then we found out how much of a shit show it happened.
Oh.
Yeah, what happened was that there was technical problems.
Yeah,
like
when
what I like the most.
Mic.
He threw the mic, and I was like, "Yep, that would have been well worth the $150."
Yeah, you guys should have gone.
Oh well, we'll take the L on that one. But hey, I think he might be performing here soon, so I think one of these festivals are going to start.
I will end with this, and this is the one thing
let's move on from that.
With the one thing I don't like, it's not just about concerts; it's about the tickets itself. Obviously, a lot of creators don't like the idea of people upselling their tickets that they're selling at a specific price, right? So there's not really much you can do. Except unless you're the one in charge of handing out the tickets, because usually the people in charge of doing the tickets isn't the author or the creator of the music itself, the artist.
It's the stage, it's the arena.
It's the arena or the company that is in charge of all that, because just to get everything done. So like, I think I've only ever heard of like a couple of options that people say like this is a one-time ticket type of purchase, one purchase ticket, and you can't really resell it because then you'll lose this ID or whatever. Much like how with like Ubisoft, you use this one like this little code or this DLC code once, and once it's used, you can't use it again. So like that's the one thing that people have considered doing, but it's just too many steps. And I just wish that it's artists actually like take a bit of control of ticket sales, or at least the pricing of it, because obviously people will buy it and upscale it a bunch. So it is what it is. You know, that's life. But what can you do?
I know what you can do.
Concerts. What can you do?
You can,
scalpers are always going to scalp.
You can go on a gaming console or gaming PC and play some freaking Elden Ring.
Oh, yeah, tell me about that, bro.
Can you tell me about that? Yeah,
okay, addiction has set in. I have been playing Elden Ring officially for 2 weeks, and I have already put in almost 60 hours of my life into it.
Mm-hmm.
Aren't those the best games,
dude,
though?
They're
where you can just
so
wake up and just play that,
good.
and then you just go to sleep and you play it again?
Yep.
That's how I felt about like with Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild reminded me I love video games again.
Well, Breath of the Wild, so it's interesting because those two games are very similar in a sense, but they're not.
Yep.
At the same time, like one is extra.
Well, to be fair though, both games did do a revolution. To be fair, though, both games did do a revolutionary thing. They made the player character jump manually.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, there you go. This game's like Breath of the Wild. No, not really. Oh wait, you could jump. Oh fuck, it is Breath of the Wild.
It really is though. Like Elden Ring, I'm already like I think I'm 87, level 87 is the last night, and I don't know, man. Like I'm already halfway through the game, and I don't know. I'm not gonna give any spoilers, but I beat like the second major boss, and I beat the third major boss.
Mm-hmm.
So now I can do like rebirths and stuff. And I got a specific set of armor that, one of the bosses gives. Anyways, I thought it was really cool the fact that like you can summon champions into that second boss battle.
Ew, summoning.
Well,
I don't do none of that.
This one was kind of hard, I'm not going to lie. But
not gonna lie, summoning kind of
sussy,
kind of a straight.
To be fair though, that game gives you literally a summon spell like with no cost.
No. I mean, I didn't summon like there's an actual item that allows you to summon an enemy or not enemies,
friendly,
friendly,
like the jellyfish and the wolves and stuff. That's what I'm saying. Like the game literally gives you that.
I got one that was called a mimic tier, and it literally copies your character 1-to-1. Abilities, everything. It's disgustingly broken, and it takes a lot of your health away just so you can summon it.
My first experience with Elden Ring was an experience that I'm sure a lot of people tried doing this, but they ended up failing. I was so close, and I was really, really tempted in resetting my save file. But I'm like, whatever. It is what it is. But the first ever boss, the Scion that you fight at the very, very beginning, the first boss that if you die, that's when you're like reborn, and that's when a cutscene plays and stuff. I think I got him to like 25-ish%, and because I rolled a little bit too early, just a little bit, he hit me with his glowing golden attack, and I'm like, no. Literally, he only hit me once.
Off though, like it slightly pisses you off because it's like like you messed up and it was your fault. It's not the game's fault. It's your fault.
Right. And the thing is, he only ever hit me once before, but because that was before he did he was in the second stage. So in his first stage, he hit me once.
Are we talking about the major boss in the castle, or are we talking about the first one?
The very, very first one.
Oh, okay.
The Scion, the dude with multiple arms, and then when he gets to the second stage, he has a couple. He draws out a couple of swords and
a couple swords and a massive hammer.
And it glows whenever he strikes.
And then he also has throwing knives too.
The thing is, I play every Soulsborne game as level 1,
right?
As a waste of skin, in Bloodborne, or in this game, a wretched, right? You're just level 1.
You ain't nothing but a hoe.
That's what I'm saying.
No bitches.
So, I got so close, dude, and I'm like, oh, whatever. I'll just keep playing, but. All I've been doing is not fighting any main bosses. All I've been doing is like, hey, I see a big boss. Let me see if I can fight him. And then I do peanut damage, but if I can kill him, I can kill him. I almost got the tree sentinel at the beginning of the game.
Dude, when I was level 10. Such a pain in the butt. But I
almost had him.
I went in over leveled kind of. So I just kind of slapped him around a little bit. Just like there's some other bosses that are like they're on a horse. and it's
Yeah.
I forgot, they're like knight.
Trying to fight the tree
They're
sentinel
called like
without a horse.
they're knights.
Is like
I think it's like called Shadow Knight or something. Oh yeah,
The
I've tried.
Cavalries?
Is it knight cavalry?
I tried fighting the tree sentinel without a. It literally trying to fight. If
like
I could
being
describe fighting the tree
handicapped.
sentinel, what? Not only just being handicapped. Imagine you and your boys like, hey man, we're gonna do a drive by, but none of you guys have a car, so you just run by and shoot, and then you miss your shots, so the ops go hop in their car and they're chasing you down the street.
I'm
So
sorry.
like that's how I feel about this certain boss that I'm trying to fight. It's like it's called, I think, Athena, like ruler of the void or some BS like that. It's a big boss, but on 6 legs and has a massive tail. Well, anyways, it does like some hyper beam bullshit, and like if you get touched by it, you're done. First off, like that's it, you die. There's unless you have an absorbent amount of health, and then like you try and attack it up close, and it does this ground pound slam that you can't avoid. There's another one where it just kind of sucks itself into an orb and teleports to a different spot. That insta kills you. And then like there's another one. I'm trying to remember what the heck the attack was, but that boss really just kind of pissed me off. It's part of the Ranny quest line. It's like near the end. Like Ranny and Blood. I'm not sure if you're familiar with those quest lines, but I've been doing a lot of the quest lines in the game here recently now that I've feel competent enough.
Maybe I'm a weirdo, but I really don't like horse combat because, like,
Yeah, you are a weirdo.
If I'm fighting someone else with a horse, you know what I do? I kill the horse first, and I do it good. I do it hard. And even though I'm under-leveled, I don't care. I'll do it anyways. The tree sentinel is the only exception.
What
Sentinel,
level are you?
I think I was level 15 when I got the tree sentinel to 40, and then
Jeez.
I rolled into a rock, and then I'm like, damn it, and then he hit me.
Yeah, that would
with
have
his
pissed
big
me off.
ass axe. But I mean, I knew I wasn't ready for the fight. I knew I was under-leveled. That's what I've been doing this whole time, looking for bosses while I'm under-leveled. I have a bunch of runes. I just haven't used them. I'm going around exploring until I'm like, all right, this world is getting a bit too annoying. Let me level up like 5 levels.
So like Khalid is such a pain in the ass, and it's supposed to be an early game area. Khaled's the second, like it's connected to Limgrave. So you have Limgrave, right? And then to the right you have Khalid. To the south you have forgot the name of the island. Weeping something or another, Weeping Plateau, or Weeping Peninsula, that's what it was called. And then up north you have the Lakes of Lernia. So I completed the first boss. Actually, I'm sorry. I went to the Weeping Plateau. I completed the Weeping Plateau essentially because there's only a minor Erd tree down there. And then I went where was it? Then I went straight up to Lakes of Lernia, completed that area, the boss and all. Then I came back to Limgrave. I was like, okay, let me see what else I can find in Limgrave that I can do.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went to Khalid afterwards. I was like level 50 or 60, and I ran into this one area where there's like 4 dragons, all half health. Turns out, like, if you kill 3 of them, it kills the big dragon that spawned them all in the first place.
Okay.
And like when you're in that area, there's these massive ads. So like you'll have like a big raven that you cannot, I swear to God, for the life of me, you cannot dodge the attacks, and it pisses me off. And then you have like these dogs that run on their hind legs, and it's like, okay, they're big, they're scary, but they're not as hard as the ravens are, but they're still hard.
Okay.
And you get teleported to Khalid if you reach a certain chest. It's called the Tower of Return in the Weeping Plateau.
Yeah, you
Oh,
just get
no.
teleported.
You get teleported to a divine bridge. But you can't use the teleporter that's there, and there's this massive boss. Well, it's not a boss, but it's like one of the stone giants. Also,
I think I like how Elden Ring has really taking over the casual scene.
Oh yeah,
because people are really enjoying
It's
this
pretty
game.
crazy, actually.
It really
I don't
is,
think so.
But at the same time, it's kind of a formula that they've been working on since 2009. So they've just
Like, yeah, Elden Ring is just an amalgamation of all of From Software's previous.
But that's what's great about From Software is like they don't forget about what they did prior. They're not trying to innovate on something that already worked. They're using what worked, making it prettier,
Right.
and then implementing better ways to level yourself up. Or now there's no such thing as humanities, which, granted, that's better for the casual scene, but like it makes it more accessible.
Yeah, that's the one thing people have definitely complained about this game. One of them being the instant zero, like the 100 to 0 combos that a lot of NPCs have, or the ways you can build a 100 to 0 combo. Just one combo and that's it. Entire health bar gone for someone you're invading or
Right.
someone invading you.
Right.
Right? That's how it is. People are complaining about that. That even something NPCs do. You just do one bad roll, you're at 100% with all your buffs and everything, and you're still getting that's it. You're dead.
Well, that's
Might as well just restart the game.
That's the awesome thing about like the Wondrous Flask of Physic, I think it's called. There's certain certain items you can put into this physic that like your very first hit that you get, it negates the attack, like most of the damage.
Oh really?
Yeah,
Nice.
it's awesome. I freaking love it. And like I have it to right now where it negates the attack and it also causes health regeneration. I also have a talisman that has health regeneration. So I get double the
I'm
health
just going for a
regen.
guts build.
I'm
going for guts for berserk build.
Right now
Big
I'm building
sword,
into my
I
strength.
swing.
I'm building into my strength. I've already built into my dexterity. I got it like 22, 23.
Cringe.
Yeah, you can cringe.
Daniel,
all
get
you
a lot
want.
of this guy. He's building decks.
You know
Yeah,
what?
man.
The next thing I'm going to be building into is arcane and faith.
boy.
And intelligence. I need to get those because.
You better pray. Man, you better start praying for some maidens then, I guess.
Hey man, I got that first one, and she had one eyeball, and she looks like Ronnie, but not actually Ronnie. So, yeah.
Look, all I know is I'm gonna find the biggest sword I can find. I'm gonna swing. I'm gonna go bonk on these fools, on these people trying to tarnish my tarnished name.
Going back to like the whole casual scene, like there's certain parts of the game that are extremely hard. Like even being in the casual scene, myself included, I'm part of that erroneous group that's playing the game as a
Right.
casual. Because I've never beat any of the other Souls games. I played them all.
I'm sorry. If you're talking about Souls, you don't say casual. You say casual.
Well, whatever you want to call it, Marcos.
You don't say the whole word. You gotta say casual. Get good at casual, because people can't spell when if you're a Soulsborne player. You don't know how to play.
Say get good.
You ever seen them say get good? Yeah, of course.
Oh, yeah.
You see how they spelled it.
Yeah.
Come on.
That's true. That's
They
true.
just they don't got the time for that.
Yeah.
They're too busy leveling up.
They're
They
too
gotta get
busy
to the next
getting their
division.
freaking souls, dog.
Exactly. They're just they're shorthand.
Yeah.
Right.
So like, I mean, I'm just really surprised on like how large the game has gotten, and like people are starting to like be hopeful for the gaming scene as a whole. Like that's the first game to like make waves in a very long time.
And it's also sold tremendously well, all things considered.
It's
all
polished.
The other Soulsborne
It's
games.
polished. The game's polished.
Yeah, but what I mean by that is that like not only is it like the Souls games, like Demon Souls especially,
Right.
was like this super niche thing. Like it was like we didn't know what to make out of it yet. Like it's I played Demon Souls first technically, and I just didn't get it because I wasn't like hyped up and being told like, oh, this game's like super good and this and that, or it's like really difficult.
Then
I
they
just
did a
played it as
remaster.
what it was. Yeah, and I bought a PlayStation 5 for it, and then I sold it for it, and that was the end of it. But the point was, though, is that like the Souls games in general were super, like they sold well.
Right.
They sold 1 million copies each, and I think one sold 2 million. But the idea was that like Souls games were like super niche. Like you knew you were going in there for a dick flattening if you were going to play a Souls
Yeah,
game.
you
know
hated
what I'm saying?
yourself, so you go
And-
play the game.
Right, but you had that sense of accomplishment. I don't think a lot of gamers really like that. Gamers want
want
you
instant
know, shoot the head,
gratification,
funny
yeah.
numbers, Fortnite Battle Pass going up. They want to get that sense of progression. But no, this game is just like, all right, you beat a boss. Here's all you saw. Oh, that skeleton.
With that's artificial progression. Like you're artificially progressing because the game's easy. So it gives you that instant gratification.
Well, not only that, though, but it's like you play like Fortnite, for example. There's fucking bots in your game, and then you just kind of like deflates your win because you're like, okay, cool. Like I beat a bunch of bots. I don't know which is a player or isn't a real player. You know what I'm saying? So to me, like I just always took as like Souls games are like if you get into them, you really get into them. But I would assume that a lot of people, including myself, didn't get into Dark Souls 1 immediately. Yeah. But as time goes on, it's just kind of crazy to see like how many people are picking this game up, and it's not just people saying like, "Oh, I'm gonna play the super hard game." Teehee, like, "Oh no, man, I'm
gonna get on and I'm gonna have fun. I'm gonna feel something.
I'm gonna try to like legitimately do good, and I'm trying to get enjoy the game." And I just kind of am happy for that,
So like I have a set of armor from the second boss, and then I killed a little like a smaller boss in one of the Evergalls, which is like. Kind of like it's like a seal for a boss, and they're encapsulated into this certain area. And like this boss is called like the Bloodhound Knight or something like that. And I killed him. He was pretty easy. He was an easy boss, which granted there's a lot of those in the game too, like the Erd Tree avatars. But he was an easy boss, but his weapon, I swear to God, I have not put it away. Like, I've gotten other stuff, and I have his weapon. I think I have it at plus 15 right now. So, I've just been grinding with that thing. I have, like, it does, like, 500 damage. So, like, why would I put anything else in my hands other than that? That's like, a niche issue I have with the game. Like, once you find a weapon, and it's good, you're not putting it away. Like,
that's how I feel too. Where it's like when you fight a boss and then you get this cool weapon, and then you see the requirements for it, and you have to like max out like your dex or something.
Why do you think I put my freaking dex at 22? I can only use his sword with 22 dex.
Exactly, but like I'm talking about like Dark Souls 1 to 3. Like that's how I used to play it. Like I got this broadsword. Okay, this is what I'm rocking with this puppy with. I'm upgrading. I'm putting all this shit onto it, and then it's like, oh, I got this neat weapon from Dark Souls 3 where you get to like swing around like the what are those people called from that basically Artorias the Abyss Walker was supposed to be? Is it just called the Abyss Walkers?
So. Abyss Watchers.
Watchers. There we go. The Watchers.
I didn't play Dark Souls 3.
Like, you know that like weapon where you get like a knife and a big ass sword and you get to like swing around, you get to run around the floor like a little gremlin you are. Like I thought that looked cool, but then I thought like, well, this isn't really practical and I don't have the stat requirements for it. Back to the broadsword, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah, so another
like I'm not gonna do all this flippy shit, you know what I'm saying?
So like I watched a YouTube video about Elden Ring and why players are so engaged with it versus like
because it's an easier game, bro.
So the Act Man, he did a video. He's the one that did the video. He made a good point. If you look at any Souls game, when you die, you get sent back to like the beginning of the freaking area, right? You know, there's only that one campfire, that one bonfire.
1 or 2 bonfires, yeah.
There's only one in the entire area. And then if you die from the boss because you got damaged from all the little freaking enemies that you had to kill on the way to the boss, you get pissed off. It was like a formula to piss you off. And now, you know, this is what I'm saying, that they're implementing, like, you know, better ways to play the game. You have, you know, the stake, I think it's called the Stake of Marika. I'm pretty sure that's the name, or Makaria. I forget the name. Like, the name of the queen.
Marika. It's Marika, yeah.
So her, like, you have those statues, and then sometimes there'll be a site of grace that's right next to where the boss is at. So you die, you go back to that spot. It'll ask you, oh, would you rather go to the stake or would you rather go to your last site of grace? Obviously you're going to choose the closer option, being the stake. So you spawn in and you go right back into the boss battle and try again until you kill that motherfucker because you're pissed off at the fact that he's killed you 300 times. Don't ask me. But you know, once you finally kill that boss, it's like, oh, it feels so good.
Yeah, but that's with any Souls game, Kenny.
Yeah,
even some Souls games, the bonfire, the respawn point is near.
But that's what the reason why I'm
fight.
saying, like, people are, well, they're, if you take a look at the Souls games, normally the freaking spawn points are hella far from where the boss is. Like,
not all the time.
Relatively
Sometimes
speaking.
you'll have to. Usually, there's a shortcut in most of the Souls games that you activate, and then you can There's a one shot to the boss battle. Normally, there'll be some enemies in the middle, sure, but I feel like this game is a whole lot easier. And the reason I know this game feels a whole lot easier is because I can be severely underleveled and still take on bosses.
So it just depends on the boss too. So like if you fight, and this is going to be a spoiler, but it's not really a spoiler at this point because this is like the first major boss. So like Godric, the Grafted, like he's not an easy boss, but you can go and play the rest of the game and then come back to him and slap him around like if he's a little kid.
Right.
And that's what makes the game easy, really, is just going, grinding the shit out of it, getting your runes, leveling up, finding better weapons than, you know, your starting weapon, and then killing the damn boss. And that's what I did that's what I'm doing with Athena right now. So like the big enemy, and then there's two bosses right now that I cannot kill for the life of me. It's the fully grown Stargazer beast, or I forget the name. It's like a big ass horse on the top of a mountain right before Volcano Matter, and I'm like struggling to kill this damn boss because it's all made out of stone, and then the face is the only thing that's really weak, and it's ass, and like it attacks pretty consistently, so, or the amount of damage it does is quite a lot. So like I'm sitting here healing, and then with Athena, it's like I already explained what her freaking mechanics are essentially, and just pisses me off. Like I've been trying to have other people come into my world and help me.
Ew.
Yes, ew. You can ill all you want.
Ew.
Yeah, go ahead.
Ew.
Yeah, do it.
No.
Ew.
But
And you wonder why I ain't got no maidens.
all I'm saying is, like, there's certain bosses that I'm still having issues with. So it's not like it's an easy game all the time.
Right.
On top of that, like, there's you know, the people that will defeat these bosses because they're over leveled, or they're right at the same level as the boss pretty much, and it'll be a hell of a fight, but at the end of it, it's instant gratification because, well, not
but that's
instant,
any video game in general, any RPG, I should say.
I guess. I don't
I will say, though,
RPGs.
If I could quote James Roll for a minute, I was rewatching AVGN recently, and I think what Kenny was getting at was actually something he said recently. We said games, mind you, he's talking about like the NES, right? He's talking about how like games on the NES should always have unlimited continues, because it doesn't make any goddamn sense if you really think about it. Like dying a certain amount, running out of continues, and you have to go all the way back. I know that that's a holdover from like the days of the arcade, because you know, that was a way to get people to spend more money, blah 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 blah. But he brought up a good point, because it's going back to playing level 1 again when you're struggling at level 4 is what's so aggravating, because you already know how to beat level 1 a bunch of times because it's an easy level and you're speedy run through it. It's the later levels that you need the most practice on, and that's how I feel like Elden Ring is doing it. They know they're like, okay, players are having a hard time with this particular boss. He's not having any trouble with getting up to the boss. Let's just cut through that bullshit you get to go through. Like, I was thinking about how, like, you got to fight Queen Laga from Dark Souls 1, and you got to go through all of Blighttown. Like, you're just learning how to dodge rocks at that point. You're not fighting.
Blighttown.
Yeah, like, you're not really going there to fight the people. You're just going there to speedrun the fight Queen Laga. Or if you're, like, like, I'm talking about, like
you have to freaking sit there and dodge freaking fire bombs.
Exactly. Like, it's like you're not really doing like anything for the fights leading up to the boss. You're just running through it, because players are not going to waste their time and energy or resources fighting, you know, the small fry. They're going to be like, okay, that's where the boss is. I just need to run this way to avoid it.
Right.
So yeah, I just want to get my perspective. What are you saying, Marcus?
I truly believe that the reason why this game as a whole is much more popular than any other Soulsborne game out there is, one, it's a lot easier. People have been complaining about Soulsborne games and how hard it is for the longest time, especially Sekiro, which got Game of the Year in the year it was released, and even then people were still complaining that it was hard, which technically speaking, and I've said this before on the podcast, that you're playing Sekiro on the easy mode when you first play the game. Hard mode is when you ring that bell, gives you extra points for every enemy you kill. Anyways, this game is definitely a lot easier, especially early on in the game when you get, in the open world when you get the horse. Combats become super easy with non-ranged enemies. They become a thing of a past. The fast travel system is pretty good, pretty cool.
Yeah, I like
obviously, you can just fast travel everywhere. But once you're in a dungeon,
you're locked
Once
in.
you're in the dungeon, you're back to the original bare bones Dark Souls experience.
Yep.
So I don't think that argument really holds on, whatever the Actman said, because dungeons exist, and people still play dungeons. They go through dungeons.
Yeah,
because
but
it's necessary.
aside from like dungeons, the rest of the game is pretty much set up exactly how the Actman explained it. So like, yeah, dungeons. Right. But once you unlock the door and you go back to the site of grace, sit down and then run through that door, because there's not that much of a distance between the site of grace and that door most of the time. I found a couple dungeons where it's very different from that, but like good majority of those dungeons, you can unlock the door, go back to the site of grace, sit down, run through the door, and then you're at like 10 feet pretty much. I mean, relatively speaking, it's not actually 10 feet, but what I'm saying is like it's close to the site of grace. You most of the time don't have to fight an enemy. If so, maybe one or two, and then you go through the door and fight the boss. And then the boss is
even
usually
then
pretty easy.
Even if that were true, my statement still stands that the game is easier overall. It's an easier experience, and the only reason I know this, and I only play the early, the beginning of the game.
Yeah, I was about to say, Marcos, like, can I like chime in real quick? I know I've been fairly quiet because, like I said, I know I'm going to get really into Elden Ring, but the two reasons why I've been holding off on it, because I'm working on a project and I need to dedicate more time to it, which has not been something I've been doing a lot because I started this new job. And two was because the performance hasn't been the greatest. Have you watched like the end game content? Because the damage scaling is the biggest complaint. I know you're saying that now because you said you're still early. No, not New Game Plus. I'm talking about like
scaling.
end game content.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, because I've seen cases where people are getting like 1 or 2 shotted very quickly in that game.
Yeah, that's like, one of the things I said about that people are complaining about the combos, because people will get 0 to 100 combos from any level, especially, and I was gonna say this, but I forgot to say it. Towards the end game, you can easily get insta killed with one combo because you're stuck in the loop now. Because poise isn't really quite the best thing in this game compared to like DS1 and DS2 and DS3. Well, actually, no, DS1. I'm sorry, DS1 specifically. But you just get into a combo. That's it. You game over. You got to restart. That's the one thing that people have been complaining about. But honestly, that's more of like a just dodge type of thing. Just learn not to get hit, I guess. Which I'm not saying it's a cop out or anything. I know what you're saying. But even the starting areas, it's the game feels easy. The game feels very, very fluid, very, very.
But I think that's because
easy.
Of the beginning area. Like I made it to an area called like Lake of Rot, and dude, like, so you get Scarlet Rot just from running through this lake. You can't spawn your torrent, and like there's other enemies. I mean, granted, they give you easy enemies, but like. There's a boss out in the distance that I can see that I was thinking about fighting, and I said it's not worth it because I don't have a high enough immunity, or I don't have enough resources to fight this boss yet. Like, you really have to think about your situation, and like since I'm getting further, and like I said, I'm almost at the 4th boss essentially. So like I'm getting into
yeah, you could beat the game in 5 bosses. Yeah.
Yeah, it's 6 bosses, I'm pretty sure.
The argument I'm basing this off on is literally a very, very good friend of mine. Him and I, we would do Dark Souls, Bloodborne invasions nonstop, and we were toxic as shit. And I mean, like, really toxic. I'm talking about like the same videos you see online of people getting dunked on and getting disrespect on YouTube. Something similar within that. And he tells me, and we're in similar skill levels. He's played the game a lot longer than I have. Dark Souls series in general, and even he says it. The game is way too damn easy if you don't get hit, especially if you don't get hit in one of these insta kill combos. the rest of the game is super easy. Even big ass bosses just that take up the whole screen, even they're extra easy compared to like everything else. He said this when he went back to Bloodborne and started playing Bloodborne because he had another idea for another build, and he's like, holy shit, I got my ass wrecked in Bloodborne because I got used to Elden Ring. I'm like, I guess I'm going off his word, and he's basically a Miyazaki cuck boy. So I mean, from what I could tell, and a lot of other content creators as well, the game is fairly easy. It's also beautiful. Obviously, that's one of the reasons why it's extra popular. So, I mean, I'm glad Miyazaki is succeeding in this open world endeavor. But time can only tell. Will only tell like what's the sequel to come. Like obviously,
I don't
you
think
can't
it's
really
gonna
quite
be
revert.
Elden Ring 2.
I mean, you can't really I wonder if they'll revert back from open world to like single like linear kind of play style.
I don't think
Because like
so.
what if they make a Sekiro 2 or what if they make a I don't know.
I'm still waiting for Kingsfield remake.
Hell
I'm
yeah.
telling you.
Heck
we
yes.
need a Kingsfield remake.
There's a theory that some YouTubers have been thinking about, or some people in the game community have been thinking about, where it's the if a game goes open world, then they're desperate in some way to save or revitalize the player base. And one of the arguments, I sort of agree, sort of disagree with it, but one of the arguments that I sort of agreed with was like with Halo, its player base is dwindling. The multiplayer, at least, is dwindling.
I told you it was gonna happen.
But that's only because of the lack of content.
I stopped playing
it's
that
stagnating.
game. I've been
stopped
like
too.
I know you guys are waiting for me to get over the honeymoon phase, and
Yeah.
like I am, and I've already said, the campaign's good. It's not great. It's good. Graphics are great. Art style direction's great. Multiplayer right now is in a very bad spot in the game.
Have they literally added anything?
They reset.
Legitimately.
They reset the ranked, ranks. Essentially, that's all they've done.
What? So what? Everyone has a 0.1 MMR again? What the
Yeah.
fuck?
So like, skill-based matchmaking, all that crap gets reset back to 0.
No.
Oh boy.
Yep.
Okay. Any new maps, guns, content?
No. It's a live service
Okay,
game.
guys,
It's a
I know
live
you-
service game with nothing.
Okay, I get that. I get that,
I mean,
guys.
there's new
Listen,
armor. I guess you can consider like the.
No, Kenny, I'm talking about something I can fucking play, not pay.
No, you don't pay for it.
I don't
They're
get- but
events,
that's
they're
not
events.
new content. Yeah, but that's not real
Yeah,
content. Like,
I get
okay,
it.
like
It's all
I started
cosmetic
playing
shit.
Fortnite on. I unironically started playing Fortnite because they added fucking sliding. That's a new mechanic in the game.
Yeah, they also
Like,
got rid of.
I got
building.
legit. Well, yeah, that's a temporary event,
Yeah.
but that's like a legitimate thing that I was like, oh, I
Oh
kind of
no,
like
they're,
this.
they're
That's
keeping
a mobility
it. They're
upgrade.
keeping it permanently.
No, it's temporary thing. They might make a game mode where it's no building, but
It's pretty funny though, but yeah, but like that's just my point is that like when they said like, oh, this game's gonna be for 10 years, like okay, that's great and all, but you're already dying on year one, buddy.
Not
How are you
even,
gonna
like,
keep people
half
interested?
The first year, like it's 3
Exactly,
months.
like that's not a good sign.
what happened with the whole
Right.
year of extra development? Where'd that go?
I think
Yeah,
that really
like-
went into like the campaign.
that cosmetic?
No, I think
How
it
it
went into
looks.
the campaign. I really do. I think it went into the graphics.
Yeah, and how it looked, the game overall, how it looked,
Yeah.
maybe.
They probably finally added that Xbox One cloud computing graphics upgrade. Remember that shit?
gosh.
Hell yeah. I will say though, like the game obviously is great, it's beautiful, and looking to look
I have
at.
not touched it in forever.
Yeah, me either.
The thing is,
I had fun with it, and I enjoyed it as a non-Halo fan. I really enjoyed it.
A fun
so
game.
But I was like,
the theory that I was going with, that I sort of I'm half and half with, because you could see it actually happening with some genres like Fallout, where the moment went open world, right? It saw huge success, right, with 3, New
well, to be
Vegas,
fair,
and
that's
4.
always been open world. Like,
1 and
even
2
one and
wasn't really open world.
What do you mean? You could go anywhere in that game.
Technically, it wasn't open world. It's not the open world esque. It was open world esque. I'm sorry. It wasn't the true sense of open world as we see it now. I guess the new gen open world, I guess, you can call it.
I mean, like I guess we're talking like pre GTA 3 open world.
Basically, yeah.
I mean, I just consider open world anything where like you have a map, you go anywhere at that point. Hence, open world.
Yeah, that's what I think.
True. So
I mean, like, I get where you're coming from. There are franchises that go open world, and they just kind of be like, okay, now you have to make an open world game, and you now have to figure out how to take that single player left to right content and then spread it out amongst.
That was an issue I had
with,
with Halo Infinite.
you could technically call Rage open world, Rage 1, but it really isn't an open world. Sure, you can explore the world, you can go around everything, but you're stuck in this linear story
I get where you're
path.
coming from.
That's
like,
the way
if you
that
play
Halo
Mafia
is.
2, for example, like, the game is constantly telling you where to go, but theoretically, you could walk around and collect the Playboy magazines.
Right.
Halo is like that.
Right. So
Yeah.
what I'm trying to say is that like the theory goes that once a series goes open world, it can't really go back. It needs to continue doing so, or else it's gonna. It's sort of like there's like a time bomb going off, saying like, hey, you really want to avoid open world unless it's like necessary for us and all that stuff. So like I sort of disagree with the theory in some aspects, because a lot of games were always meant to be open world, and people enjoy the open world thing, because like every Legend of Zelda that has been booming prior to Breath of the Wild have been, in a sense, open world. Obviously, IGN's only 10 out of 10 game, I think, is Ocarina of Time for the 3DS, the remastered one.
Yeah.
Not even the original?
No, not the original, just the remastered one. Remember
What the fuck?
Didn't the original one have like I think they complained about the water level. I love how I think it was IGN that complained about too much water in Pokemon.
Yeah, Pokemon
Ruby and Sapphire.
Yeah, too much water.
Yeah.
10 out of 10.
Here's my theory, guys. I think what it was is that the people who work at IGN are the same people that were told to go fight Poseidon by punching water.
Well, I mean,
That was actually a thing, by the way.
That's a
I'm not
legitimate way to fight Poseidon. It's not that you're gonna win.
No, but yeah, but it was legitimately a thing. Some general was like, "Fuck you,
they
Poseidon."
They weren't told that they had to win. They just had to fight him. Okay.
Yeah, but they really show that water.
Wow! This I did not know.
Yeah, fun fact. Some guy really got mad at Poseidon. He was like, "Well, fuck you. I'm gonna attack your ocean, Poseidon." Yeah, take that, pussy.
But yeah, it's one of the things that like I'm concerned about. Once this formula it's obviously succeeding for Miyazaki, obviously.
Yeah.
From Software is on top of the map. People are calling it the perfect game out there because there's basically too much content in there. There's so much things you can do. There's a lot of things you can experiment with, and that's cool. A lot of people, I mean, even Donkey just released his video game Donkey, and he beat the game 4 times, and he's still doing new stuff, or so he claims. All he knows is that a lot of people have been enjoying this game, and I wonder if they're ever gonna go back to their original, like, the bare bones Dark Souls type esque story, because I've liked the story of Bloodborne. I hope they make a Bloodborne 2 that's not so much open world and keeps to the original
Tight
style.
level design.
Right.
But
that fucking tight ass level design.
But I would not complain if it was open world. I just hope they're not forced to do open world, because now, hey, we saw the success with open world, now we're going to start doing this. But I don't think Miyazaki or From Software, I would give them the benefit of the doubt that they won't cave to the pressure. But that's really it. But speaking about open world specifically, I am surprised that this new Harry Potter game that was announced in the, was it a PlayStation Direct or some sort of thing, or a PlayStation channel?
Wasn't it
that
what's the
State
name?
of
What's
Play.
the name of the freaking game? I saw some gameplay.
Hogwarts Legacy or something like that?
Yeah, it looks cool, dude. I can't wait for it to come out.
Every time when Hogwarts or Harry Potter comes up, everyone just reminds me that fucking the author is a bitch for some reason, and I'm like,
Oh yeah. Yeah, J.K. Rowling doing cringe commentaries. It's the same thing that I've always said with like a lot of people. It's like, I like Jordan Peterson and Sam Harris for what they specialize in, but when it comes to political takes, I'm like, I don't know, man.
Yeah, sometimes you just have to, like, I don't know. I hate talking about politics. It's
Yeah, let's not
complicated.
talk about
it's
politics.
messy. It's
I
like
would love to talk
I
about
like
politics.
it. Like, have you ever followed someone on Twitter you really like, and then you see them talk about politics? You're like, oh, this is.
And I don't really like
This
them.
is aggravating.
Well, first of all, you mentioned Twitter, so there's your first problem.
I'm well aware of it. I lost the game from before it even started.
Yeah,
the game was rigged from the
You
start.
basically ruined it. Your whole example from the beginning. No, I mean, with politics, I don't really. I really don't quite care, especially where we live at. If you have a very certain political take, I assume that you think this way because of the environment that you're in and the people that you're surrounding yourself with, which is fine. I could separate you from the politics, but if you're like gun ho super into it, I'm like, it's a little kind of.
Some people just get way too invested in it.
That's
It's
when it gets
just
cringe. Yeah, but
it's like, hey man, like I'm not saying we gotta enslave people. I just have a different political take than you.
right, and that's the
That's
thing with
it,
J.K.
you know?
Rowling going a bit to being a sissy baka over there. So where she started saying like, oh, like once her books were finished and everything, she said, oh, Dumbledore's actually gay, and everyone's like, okay. And then she also said, oh, Hermione was actually like a black person. Nowhere in my books I said like she was like white and everything, and then literally in the book,
I always
the
thought-
first book, when they
But
introduced
But that's the
Hermione.
weird thing though, because that's the two types of things I get from her. It's like one thing though, she indulges in fan fiction, and then on the other hand,
Yeah.
she's also transphobic apparently.
Well,
Like that's what people.
she's what they call a TERF, a trans exclusionary radical feminist. So a feminist that, and not to get too much,
Okay.
not to get too much into politics. It's just feminists, they don't like trans because not real women type of arguments.
Oh,
you know.
gosh.
Oh, trans. Okay,
Trans.
I said
Oh,
trends.
gosh.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah,
Okay.
trans exclusionary radical feminist, and she's in there. But we're not gonna get to that. It's politics, but the game
Also a
looks
very touchy
good.
subject too, so.
Yeah, so the game looks good. The game looks interesting. I just hope it doesn't turn into like a Cyberpunk 2077.
Right, yeah.
Because I would love to have this open world because like of game. Because obviously, look at Arceus, right? The Legends Arceus game.
Yeah.
People really enjoyed it, especially the combat mechanics. And if you can just dodge and roll attacks,
But the game's not
and
an open world
they're
game.
not supposed. The Harry Potter one.
No,
it
no,
doesn't
no,
matter.
no, no. I'm not talking about Harry Potter. I'm talking about like Legends Arceus. I mean,
I'm talking about the combat itself. That you
Oh.
can roll. That you can do all these other things.
yeah.
Yeah.
What kind of genre is this game?
Legends Arceus.
I'm getting
or
it.
Harry Potter.
Hogwarts.
It's action RPG in a way because it's
so it's not an MMO, right?
Why would
no.
it be? That would be a kind of. I mean, that would be.
No,
kinda
it's
cool.
an action role playing
I mean, that would
game.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
action RPG. You're
No, I mean, I was the thing is though, when I think about Harry Potter games, my experience is Quidditch Cup from on the PC when I was a kid. I
gosh,
played
you
it.
just brought me back. Whoa.
Yeah, it is dumb easy, but it was pretty fun, and especially if you're like me and you saw the first movie 100
Yeah.
times, like you loved that game. I remember playing this Prisoner of Azkaban game on the Game Boy Advance because my stepbrother had it,
Jesus.
and it was a decently competent RPG. But the real last time I ever legitimately heard anything about a Harry Potter video game was the controversy of a mobile game that was like super money grubby and like very, I forgot exactly the term, but basically it was like usual, like, oh, this game is like preying on young children and da because like you have to pay so much for, stamina or some bullshit like that. And that was like the end of it,
Every mobile game
but
ever.
I
just saying.
yeah, exactly. Like, you kind of played yourself at that point. But I don't know. I'm a very, very casual Harry Potter fan. I've tried my best to get into watching all the movies. I was going to do that at one point. I bought all of them, believe it or not. But I just always stopped by like the second or third film, and then I never went on afterwards. But yeah, I don't know what to make of this game so far. I mean, is this really the successor to Wizards 101?
Yes.
No, not entirely. Wizard 101 was a league of its own. Harry Potter will never ever catch up to it. I'm sorry. At least casually, in the casual sphere, Harry Potter wins. But Wizards 101 is where the true champions are. If you know
That's where
about
the Chads
wizards,
are.
that's what I'm saying. The true wizards. It's interesting. I just hope this
The true virgins.
this experience just really shows that some gaming development studios are really, whatever studio is really designing this, I hope they get like a good light. I hope they do this game well, because this studio,
It's developed by Avalanche Software.
Avalanche.
yes, and
I know these
Yeah,
guys.
this is-
I hope from
Oh, I know these guys. These are the guys that made Disney Infinity. We are
Yeah.
in good hands, boys.
That's what I'm saying.
We are.
If they truly succeed with this, and given the 14-minute trailer and gameplay reveal, I really hope they knock this out of the park much better than they did with Disney Infinity. That literally the whole
God, Disney Infinity. What a fucking joke
right,
that was.
right. So,
But they made the GameCube Chicken Little game, which I really liked a lot, ironically.
they did. Oh wow.
Yeah. It's on Steam right now, actually. I'm looking at it right now.
All I know is I just hope this game can really
But then again,
shine
they
a
also
light.
made Toy Story 3, because that game was also really good. I'm sorry. I'm
No, that's fine.
rambling.
I just really hope this game shines a light into like different what do you call it, into different
Into Darkness, that is the Harry Potter license.
I guess it's just I don't mind them extending the canon world. I don't care about the world building aspect. I just really care about like if it doesn't become like a monotonous RPG where you do the exact same spells over and over and over again. So the or combos. So the gameplay gets a bit too stale at the end. So I would say I have high hopes, but honestly, after the whole for Cyberpunk nonsense, I don't care. I don't care about
Stop
hyping.
pre-ordering your fucking games, please. Just stop it.
Hey, at least they announced a new Witcher game that's going to be built on Unreal Engine 5, so yippee.
Yay.
What wasn't the Matrix thing on Unreal Engine 5?
Yes.
Dude,
Yeah,
that
it was.
looks amazing. Looks
I still haven't
great.
touched. I can't play it, so I'm not even gonna lose sleep over
Just
it.
looking at it, and the potential that Unreal Engine 5 has on the PS5 looks amazing.
I mean, just
Yeah, but are they gonna hire the guy who did the Unreal Engine Mario Sunshine? Nintendo hire this man?
Honestly, I love that game. I just hate looking at the distance where it's just blue. It really throws me off because the amount of times I've played Mario 64, it's a blurry background in kind of just clouds or lava. But like the game is poly enough, just all polys that the background doesn't really mess you up. But this whole 4K rendition on Unreal Engine 4, you see the background and it's really off-putting because it really stands out. I don't know.
Don't you like the bloom and the motion blur? It's so immersive.
oh my
I hate the motion blur.
gosh.
I
I turn
always
off
motion
motion blur. I turn off chromatic aberration. I turn off lens flares.
No, we keep those on.
No.
Lens flares, that's the only thing I keep on. Only because
I can't. I
I mean, I only
only
keep that on in
because-
Battlefield 4. That's it.
I remember the first time I ever saw that was in Bioshock Infinite. I thought that was so cool, and then I realized like, oh, this is really like staring at a sun. Okay, let's. Just
that's
turn
exactly
that off
why I
now.
kept it on. The immersion of living in the sunshine state into a video game. Hey,
I already get enough of that shit. I don't need that anymore.
I will say though, ever since I built my PC, I'll end with this. Ever since
Yeah,
I built,
let's end this word.
yeah, ever since I built my PC and running Modern Warfare 2019 on Ultra, playing on shipment. If you look in a certain direction, the sun is so damn strong that if you're just looking at this very specific angle, you're just blinded. You can't see anything. And I'm like, who put this here? Who
And then it sounds like a Soundgarden song.
who put this big ball of plasma here? And then yeah, that's when I turn off lens flare. So I mean, that's a thing. But yeah, just hopes, I guess, high hopes. I hope everything goes well with it. The only Unreal Engine 5 game I'm actually looking forward to is Black Myth Wukong, because that game looks just from the trailer, and
I remember seeing that game, a little bit of it, but I don't really have much of a.
it's just the gameplay trailer was holy crap, was amazing. It's basically Dark Soul-esque, but with the mythical monkey god Sun Wukong, with his basically the Journey of the West story, where he learns to control his powers and he controls like to become enlightened and then essentially become a god. So yeah.
Man, it's so funny how Wukong has been interpreted and used in so many forms of media at this point.
That's right. How about this? I'll end it with this. I'm sorry. For all of my One Piece fans who's reading manga, yo, chapter 1044, let's go. We got a monkey god right now.
That's just
And,
way too many chapters for me.
I thought there was already too many episodes. I'm already what?
Look, all I'm saying is everything that's happening, everyone's worshiping Oda, the creator of One Piece, as a god. So I'm going to end it with that.
I'm sure. I could do something more with my time at that point.
I was about to roast you, but I ain't going to do it. It's not PG.
I'm gonna let you live.
I'll let you live for now.
Be grateful. All right, let's wrap this up, guys. Thank you so much for watching and listening to the DKM podcast. We greatly appreciate you guys watching and listening to us. As you guys know, you can watch us on YouTube, listen to us on Spotify, Google Podcast, and Anchor. We're still trying to branch out as much as other platforms as we can, including iTunes, which we're still working on that. If you haven't yet, feel free to join our Discord server. We love to have you in our little community. If you haven't, also follow us on Twitter. It's a great way to keep up to date whenever our episodes go live. I know I haven't done it in a while, but I swear to God, I'm legitimately trying to keep you guys up to date whenever a new episode drops. It's just been real busy. But with that, I think that's all we got left to say. Thank you for watching and listening. Take care, and until next time, stay safe. Call me when you get lost.